Today is April 26. On the 26th of April 1933, Hermann Göring establishes a police force. What is the name of this police force? Welcome to a new episode of Smarter by the Second. Today I am once again joined by Niels Berg. Hello Niels, how are you doing?
Hello, yes, I'm doing good. It's very nice to be back here. You guys really made a nice studio here.
Thank
I
you.
really
Yeah,
enjoy being here.
That's good to hear. So last week you actually managed to get past your first 4 rounds. Mm-hmm. So how are you feeling now? Feeling more confident in history?
I'm actually feeling more confident than I was before. There were a few tough rounds, but I'm really curious what is going to come today.
Okay. So what did you do to prepare? Because now you had a whole week time to prepare for this new episode.
Yes, you wouldn't believe I was in the library every day.
Yes.
Just reading history books.
Every Wikipedia page you scroll.
Yes, every single one about history.
Pooh, I think those might come in handy today.
So let's see if it pays off.
Yes. All right, then we are now starting with the next round where you need 7 correct answers. Mm-hmm. And after the first 2 rounds, you get to choose whether you want to continue or not.
All right.
Right. Then let's start. History is written by victors. The quote gets attributed to Winston Churchill, but its origins are unknown. It implies that history is not grounded in facts, rather it's the winner's interpretation of them that prevails. The victors can force their narrative down on the people. In the interest of remaining partial, we therefore won't be diving deep into who and what, but will limit ourselves to discussing the general reasons involved. Here are then 9 wars and their causes. I will give you the description of the cause of the war, and you have to tell me the corresponding war.
All right.
So
they're not yet on
wars you can choose from.
Yes.
Are the Vietnam War, the Punic Wars, World War I and World War II, the 100 Years' War, American Revolutionary War, the Napoleonic Wars, the Korean War and the Gulf War. So you said the previous episode that you liked the history of geographic.
Yes.
Is wars included in that?
Yes, this is definitely my style.
Okay. Then we'll see how it goes. First one. Causes include nationalism, tensions, alliances between countries and the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria.
World War I.
Causes include disputes over control of Sicily and other territories.
Punic Wars.
Causes include British attempts to exert greater control over the colonies and tax them heavily, as well as the desire
American Revolutionary War.
Causes include the spread of communism in Southeast Asia and the desire of the United States to contain it.
Vietnam War.
Causes include disputes over territory and control of the French throne, as well as economic and political rivalries.
Napoleonic Wars.
Causes include the rises of fascist regimes in Europe, aggression by Nazi Germany.
World War II.
Causes include Iraq's invasion of Kuwait.
Gulf War.
Causes include the expansionist ambitions of France under Napoleon Bonaparte and the desire of the other
This is the Napoleonic Wars. The last one was, or the one I said Napoleonic Wars is the 100 Years' War.
Causes include the division of the Korean Peninsula.
Korean War, stop the time.
Alright, so you are only allowed to switch 2 of them, unless you want to use some lifelines now.
Yes, I will use 0 lifelines.
Okay, bold move. But you said this was you thought you should.
Yes, exactly. So if I lost, I would be quite sad. But I think the probability is high that there are 7 correct answers.
All right.
Famous last words.
I think we can check. Causes include nationalism, tensions, alliances between countries and the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria. This is World War I. Then the causes include disputes over control of Sicily and other territories, as well as economic competition between Rome and Carthage. Those are the Punic Wars. Causes include British attempts to exert greater control over the colonies and tax them heavily, as well as the desire for independence among colonial leaders. That's the American Revolutionary War. The causes include the spread of communism in Southeast Asia and desire of the United States to contain it. This is the Vietnam War. The causes include disputes over territory and control of the French throne, as well as economic and political rivalries between England and France. I think if you heard the last part, then you would said, firstly, already that's the 100 Years' War. And causes include the rise of fascist regimes in Europe, aggression by Nazi Germany, and the failure of appeasement policies. That's World War II. Causes include Iraq's invasion of Kuwait and its attempts to control the oil-rich region. That's the Gulf War, and there's your 7th correct answer. Congratulations. Causes include the expansionist ambitions of France under Napoleon Bonaparte and desire of other European nations to contain his power. That's the Napoleonic Wars. And lastly, the causes include the division of the Korean peninsula into North and South following World War II and the desire of North Korea to reunify the peninsula by force. That's the Korean War.
Yes, nice.
So here you are. So only one round left before you can choose to win or you want to win even more.
And an additional lifeline.
You do get an additional lifeline.
Definitely nice.
You still have quite some time left as well. So let's continue. Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. So says the nursery rhyme by Tim Hart and friends. Interesting about this particular nursery rhyme is that it is said to be referring to Queen Mary I of England and torture machinery rather to a young maiden and a garden full of flowers. Mary I of England, also known as Mary Tudor or Bloody Mary, went in fact down in history for persecution of Protestants in a vain attempt to restore Roman Catholicism in England. While it is unsure how much use she actually got out of torture machineries named like flowers, it is beyond doubt that she was quite full and creative when it came to hurting her victims. Here are then 9 torture methods that have been used throughout history.
Aha.
I will give a description and you have to tell me the torture mechanism. So the options you can choose from are keel hauling, rack, Roman candle, impalement, red torture, blood eagle, crucifixion, wheel, and molten gold.
Okay.
I guess a different reaction than the previous.
Yeah, this is quite on the opposite side of the spectrum, but
You're such a good guy, you would never
yes.
do anything like this.
I don't have children in my basement.
You have to say this.
Yes.
Your lawyer advised you.
I think I will manage, but it would be hard, I think, to get all correct.
Okay. All right. Then we'll see. Practiced both in the ancient world and as recently as the 20th century, it involved being tied or nailed to a wooden beam.
Rack.
It involved a table, usually wooden, with axles and levers at both ends.
A wheel.
This torture involved the rat being caged to a human's abdomen and being
Rat
forced.
torture.
The term comes from the Dutch word keelhalen, meaning to drag along the
Keel
keel.
hauling.
Victims will be made to sit atop a sharp and oiled pole. Gravity would then do the rest.
Impalement.
First mentioned in late Skaldic poetry, the victim would lie in a prone position and be kept alive as their back was sliced open. The ribs were detached from their spine and their lungs pulled through the opening to form a pair of bloody wings.
Blood eagle.
The victim would be made to drink scorching hot liquid metal.
Molten gold.
This torture was reserved for public executions, during which the victim would be tied to a wooden circle and beaten with metal bars.
That's wheel.
First, the victim were tied and nailed to tall stakes, then flammable liquid was poured over them before they were set alight.
That's Roman candle, and then fill the last one in and stop the time.
All right.
Ooh.
You can go count your answers now, because we are once again looking for 7 correct.
7 correct. Okay, this one.
You still have 4 lifelines and a lot of seconds, but if you want to do the last round, keep in mind that you do need all your seconds, because there you have 2 perfect rounds and you get 77 seconds.
Let's use 3 lifelines.
3 lifelines. So that also means 48 seconds.
Yes.
All right. First one, practiced both in the ancient world and as recently as the 20th century. It involved being tied or nailed to a wooden beam. This is crucifixion.
Yes, when you say it like that.
It involved a table, usually wooden, with axles and levers at both ends. That's rack. And this torture involved the rat being caged to a human's abdomen and being forced to claw its way out through the human victim by heating up the cage. That's rat torture. The term comes from the Dutch word keelhalen, meaning to drag along the keel, which is precisely what this torture method did. It's keel hauling. Victims would be made to sit atop a sharp and oiled pole. Gravity would then do the rest, that's impalement. First mentioned in late skaldic poetry, the victim would lie in a prone position and be kept alive as their back was sliced open. Their ribs were detached from the spine and their lungs pulled through the opening to form a pair of bloody wings. Sounds nice.
Yes.
That's blood eagle. The victim would be made to drink scorching hot liquid metal, that's molten gold. And that's 7, so congratulations. This torture was reserved for public executions, during which the victim would be tied to a wooden circle and beaten with metal bars. That's wheel. And lastly, the victims were tied and nailed to tall stakes, and then flammable liquid was poured over them before they were set alight. That's a Roman candle.
Ah, so another lifeline.
Yes.
Nice.
So you get back
And
to
I again did not need to use any lifelines, but again, just like the last time it was like this, there's no way I would not use any lifelines.
All right, so now this is the point where the suspense rises, because now you are allowed to continue. Then you will get your 77 seconds that you kept from last week, which will give you a total over a bit over 200 seconds. And you have 2 lifelines.
Yes, I would like to go on.
Okay, so I don't even have to explain the other option.
No.
All right, so we are now looking for 9 perfect answers. And as you only have 2 lifelines, it means you need at least 7 of them by yourself.
But there's another round after that.
Yes, and then you have to do it perfect.
Interesting, we will see. It's all bonus from here for me. I'm happy to have made
you
it
already
for
feel like a winner.
I already feel like a winner after 6 rounds.
So you're not hungry anymore for the victory, or?
Oh, of course I'm hungry.
Okay, good to hear, good to
But I'm not disappointed in myself.
Okay. But maybe the viewers at home are, if you do not manage. Because you do set a high...
I will do it for the viewers.
You had a perfect score last time you played, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so your reputation is quite high.
Yes, well, then it can only go downhill.
It might. Okay. Before modern bands and pop music, classical pieces of music didn't get a lot of great inspirational names. Who is going to remember a name like Invention number 14 in A minor, for example? Luckily, the following classical pieces were all well known enough for them to get a unique name. 9 classical pieces of music.
Okay.
You will hear them, and you have to tell me the classical music.
Wow. This might be the end. Because
Yeah, we can look at the options and then you can say whether you recognize some of them. So we have Kenan, Rondo alla Turca, The Four Seasons, Wedding March, Für Elise, Symphony number 5, The Marriage of Figaro, Ave Maria, and Clair de Lune.
Yeah, this is something I think I might have less knowledge on than the average person. Instead of I would like to have more knowledge than the average person. There's none that I am very confident in getting correct. No.
Okay. Maybe you recognize them once you hear them.
Yes.
Maybe it will ring a bell. All right. I wish you best of luck either way.
Thank you. Ave Maria. Wedding March. The Four Seasons. Is this Für Elise? Symphony number 5. Clair de Lune. Rondo alla Turca. The Marriage of Figaro. Canon. Stop the time. Yeah, I'm gonna use both my lifelines.
Ah, that was so unexpected.
I have no idea.
But
I really do not
I
know.
think some of them you recognize.
Yeah, I recognize some
you
of
do
them.
not know the name.
I have no idea what the names are.
That is quite hard. All right, then on to checking. The first one, that was Claire de Lune.
Aha.
So not Ave Maria, unfortunately. Then the next one, that was indeed the Wedding March.
Yes.
Very famous. Then to stay in theme, the third one was the Marriage of Figaro. Then we had Für Elise. You had correct. Then we have Symphony number 5. And then it was Ave Maria, followed by Canon. Then the Four Seasons, and lastly Rondo alla Turca.
Yes.
So you still got 5 correct answers. I think that's not too shabby. But unfortunately, your journey ends here.
I think I'm going to the committee and say that this is not a history question and I am being treated unfairly.
I think if I can speak on behalf of the committee, I would consider this history. But like you already said, you had some expertises where you know a lot of, and then there are some parts of history that are not really your thing.
Exactly.
So it showed. But at least you managed to finish 6 rounds. So for that, you will get the participation award. Here you are, Niels.
Thank you.
But thanks again for participating. We hope you liked this time as well as the previous time. Unfortunately, it was not the happy ending you were looking for. But still, I think you can be very proud with 6 rounds.
Yes, thank you.
All right, and then we will move on to our next participant. And now I am joined by Michael. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. So could you shortly introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Michael. I am 22 years old. Always have to think about it nowadays. I'm a 5th year student in computer science. Recently started my master's. I also did a board year at Interactief last year, where I was external affairs. And I am hoping to beat my predecessor, who was on the show, I believe, 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, a couple. I don't know by heart, to be fair.
Okay.
So your predecessor, he actually also participated in science, as you are. I think he got to round 3. So you think you'll beat him?
I don't know, but I hope so.
I hope so. All right. So what master are you now currently doing?
In computer science, weirdly enough. With the specialization in software technology. Oh. So it's focused on designing engineering systems using software.
Okay. So how did you like your board year where you were external affairs?
It was great. Amazing time, and it goes by so quickly. It's really weird.
Yeah,
but
I had the same thing. All right, then I think we can start with the first round. Herman Vinkers is a beloved comedian from the great region of Twente. He made many people laugh during his cabaret performances with dry humor, puns, twisted logic and visual jokes. You could say he is a fun guy. And just like Herman Vinkers, I will finish with a pun, because here are 9 fun guy. So you will see 9 fun guy, and you have to tell me the corresponding name. So the options you can choose from are the fly agaric, the cedar cup, the button mushroom, stinkhorn, candle snuff, orange peel, devil's fingers, oyster mushroom, and morel.
Okay, this is gonna be interesting.
You like your chances here?
No.
But you do have 5 lifelines, so even if you have nothing correct, you can use all your lifelines and then you are through to the next round.
Let's hope the rest is a bit easier for me.
All right, so you will see them, and I will not say anything about them, so I just wish you good luck.
Thank you. The cedar cup. The button mushroom, the orange peel, the oyster mushroom, I don't know how they're called in English. Let's say the candle snuff. The morel. The devil's fingers. The stinkhorn. The fly agaric. Stop.
Alright, so there need to be 5 correct. You think you got 5, or do you want to use some lifelines?
I would like to use 3 lifelines.
3 lifelines?
Yes.
Okay, that's a good start.
Yeah.
But better safe than sorry. Okay, let's see if you got 2 on yourself. So the first one, this is the stinkhorn. Then next up, it's the button mushroom. So there's your first correct answer.
Oh, nice.
Then we have the orange peel. So that's already 2. So you already made it. Then we have the morel. Then the fly agaric. And this looks like a cup. So it's the cedar cup.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Then the red devil's fingers. The oyster mushroom. And lastly, the candle snuff. So you did need lifelines, but only 2 of them.
Yeah, but it was. I thought I had different ones correct. So.
All right.
Better safe than sorry, but
maybe the next round it's more your thing.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to Brakker by the Second. I am your host today and we will discuss the topic of alcohol. Here are 9 things that are all linked to alcohol.
Okay.
I see a smile on your face.
I hope this goes better. With a lot of practical experience.
So the options you can choose from are the cerebral cortex, yeast, aldehyde dehydrogenase, dopamine, fermentation, ethanol, physalgia, alcohol dehydrogenase, I'm sorry, it's a difficult word, and distillation. So there's no Ketel 1 in there. But,
Okay, well, I only have 2 jokers left.
all right, so we are once again looking for 5 correct answers. You think you can do this one on yourself?
I hope so.
All right, let's check. The enzyme that is responsible for breaking down alcohol to acetaldehyde and that is then further broken down to acetic acid.
Alcohol dehydrate.
The initial euphoric effects of alcohol are a result of this hormone being released from the reward center in the brain.
Dopamine.
Another term for grain alcohol, drinking alcohol, or simply alcohol.
For ethanol.
This is an organism that turns the sugar into alcohol.
Yeast.
This chemical process of sugar turning into alcohol.
Aldehyde dehydrogenase.
The process of separating the components of a liquid mixture through selective evaporation and condensation.
Distillation.
The medical term for a hangover.
Physalgia.
This enzyme converts the acetaldehyde in the presence of oxygen to acetic acid, the main component in vinegar.
Fermentation.
In this area in the brain, alcohol can affect thought processes, leading to potentially
The
poor
cerebral
judgment.
cortex. I would like to switch around the aldehyde and the alcohol with the difficult words after. And then stop the time.
Okay,
No lifelines.
no lifelines. All right, then we can go straight to checking. The first one, the enzyme that is responsible for breaking down alcohol to acetaldehyde and that is then further broken down to acetic acid. That's alcohol dehydrogenase, so I think you just swapped them. Then the initial euphoric effects for alcohol are a result of this hormone being released from the reward center in the brain. That's dopamine. Another term for grain alcohol, drinking alcohol, or simply alcohol, that's ethanol. Then the organism that turns the sugar into alcohol, that's yeast. The chemical process of sugar turning into alcohol, that's fermentation. The process of separating components of a liquid mixture through selective evaporation and condensation. It is used to make stronger liquors like gin and vodka. That's distillation. Then the medical term for a hangover, that's physalgia. The enzyme converts the acetaldehyde in the presence of oxygen to acetic acid, the main component in vinegar. That's aldehyde dehydrogenase. And lastly, in this area in the brain, alcohol can affect thought processes, leading to potentially poor judgment. Alcohol depresses inhibition, leading one to become more talkative and more confident. That's the cerebral cortex. So, 6 correct answers. Congratulations.
Nice. It was another roller coaster for me. Like I got the first one wrong. I was like, oh no, did I count correctly? But
There were a couple I think you know for sure. So you're now made it as far as bout. So now you can see whether you can surpass him or not. Brazilian striker Ronaldo Nazario is said to be one of the greatest footballers of all time. He played for huge teams such as Real Madrid and AC Milan. In his career, he scored 352 goals, and it would have been more if it weren't for his injury. He led Brazil to win the World Cup in 2002 and won the Ballon d'Or in 1997 and 2002. For these reasons, he was called the phenomenon in English. Since football can sometimes be physical, here are 9 physical phenomena. I will give a description, and you have to tell me the corresponding term.
Okay.
So the options are refraction, the Coriolis effect, the Doppler effect, the butterfly effect, diffraction, Fermat's principle, vacuum, time dilation, and superfluidity. So now we're to physics instead of chemistry.
I think I can get 6 correct here, but we'll see.
Indeed. All right, let's start. This phenomenon describes the change in frequency of a wave in relation to an observer who is moving relative to the wave source.
The Doppler effect.
This is the difference in the elapsed time as measured by 2 clocks. It is either due to
Time dilation.
This is the characteristic property of liquid with zero viscosity, which therefore flows.
Superfluidity.
This is defined as the interference or bending of waves around the corners of an obstacle or through an aperture in the region of geometrical shadow of the obstacle or aperture.
Diffraction.
This is a space devoid of matter.
Vacuum.
This states that the path taken by a ray between 2 given points is the path that can be traveled in the least time.
The Fermat's principle.
This is an inertial or viscous force that acts on objects in motion within a frame of reference that rotates with respect to an inertial frame. And the reference
Coriolis effect.
in chaos theory, this defines the sensitive
The butterfly effect.
This is the redirection of a wave as it passes through one medium to another. The redirection can be caused by the wave's change in speed or by a change in the medium.
Refraction. Stop.
I think you got 6.
Well, I'm not entirely sure, but with the thought of beating Wout, I should use jokers.
But do keep in mind you only have 74 seconds, and
That's-
you need to play one more round after this with these this time.
Okay, then
So
I'll.
if you would use 2, then it's very short time window there.
No jokers.
All right. Then the checking part. This phenomenon describes the change in frequency of a wave in relation to an observer who is moving relative to the wave source. This is Doppler effect. The difference in the elapsed time is measured by 2 clocks. It is either due to relative velocity between them or to a difference in gravitational potential between their locations. That's time dilation. This is the characteristic property of a liquid with zero viscosity, which therefore flows without any loss of kinetic energy. That's superfluidity. This is defined as the interference or bending of waves around the corners of an obstacle or through an aperture into the region of geometrical shadow of the obstacle or aperture. That's diffraction. A space devoid of matter is called a vacuum. Then the state that the path taken by a ray between 2 given points is the path that we can travel in the least time. This is Fermat's principle. And this is your 6th correct answer, so congratulations,
Yes.
you just beat Wout.
Yes.
This is an inertial or fictitious force that acts on objects in motion within a frame of reference that rotates with respect to an inertial frame. In the reference frame with clockwise rotation, the force acts to the left of the motion of the object. That's just the Coriolis effect. In chaos theory, this defines the sensitive dependence on initial conditions, in which a small change in one state of a deterministic nonlinear system can result in large differences in a later stage as the butterfly effect. And lastly, the redirection of a wave as it passes through one medium to another. The redirection can be caused by the wave's change in speed or by a change in the medium, that's refraction. So perfect round.
Nice.
So you get 1 lifeline. But do know, if you want to use the lifelines, you have to be fast with coming up with the answers, because you only have 74 seconds left.
Yeah, and I'm always forgetting that I can just cut you off to answer.
Yeah, please do, be rude.
Yeah. Okay. So 1 more round.
Yes, and then you have made it to next week.
Okay.
Your mama's so fat, she has moons orbiting her body. Here are 9 celestial objects and their distance to Earth.
Ooh.
I will give the name of the object, and you have to tell me the corresponding distance.
How many do I need to have correct here?
6.
Okay.
So if you just want to speedrun it, then the 3 lifelines cost you 48 seconds.
Okay.
So the first one, you have 629 million kilometers, 300,000 328,500 kilometers, 150 million kilometers, 6 billion kilometers, 41 million, 92 million, 4.2 light years, 408 kilometers, and 78 million kilometers.
Okay, yeah. I can do this.
All right.
Let's go.
I will just only give you the name of the objects, no description or something, just
Okay.
so it can be done quite fast. All right, let's start. The sun,
The 78 million.
moon,
I don't see any. What was it? 382,000.
the International Space Station,
408.
Venus,
41 million.
Mercury,
92 million.
Mars,
78 million.
Jupiter,
629 million.
Pluto,
6 billion.
and Proxima Centauri.
4.2 light years. Stop.
All right, so with the seconds left, you can use 2 lifelines at most, if you want to use them at all.
Let's use 2.
Let's use 2.
Yeah.
You're not that confident.
No, no. If I thought about it more, I probably could have gotten the planets right, but I'm really not sure about them.
Okay.
I think I have at least 3 correct, and then there is a chance that I have a random one.
Yes, 1 correctly.
Yeah.
All right. First one, the sun, that is 150 million kilometers away. Then we have the moon, orbiting the Earth at 382,500 kilometers. Then really close to Earth, the International Space Station is at 408 kilometers. Then we have Venus, which is the planet closest to us at 41 million. Then Mercury at 92 million kilometers. Then we have Mars at 78 million. So this is already your 6th correct answer.
What?
And we have Jupiter at 629 million kilometers. Pluto at 6 billion, and lastly the Proxima Centauri at 4.2 light years. So it's a perfect route.
I need more confidence in myself, apparently.
Or you're just a good guesser. Maybe you should hit a casino after this.
Yeah, shit. I just forgot what I answered with the planets closest to us. So I really wasn't sure about that.
Yeah, but you do get 1 lifeline back.
Yeah, nice.
And the 7 seconds, we will take them with us if you do manage to get to the point of where you can choose whether you want to do the last 2 rounds. Yeah,
Okay,
very well
nice.
done. Congratulations,
I did it.
you made it to next week.
Thank you.
So, did you expect this?
Yes, of course.
Yes.
Always have confidence in yourself. That's very important.
All right, we'll see you next week. This was it for today's episode. The answer to the fewest question is the Gestapo. Thank you all for watching, and we see you again next week.